the leadership of our great nation a year ago, I have made the task of securing every inch of our country a priority. I have no intention of relenting on this sacred duty. I am first delighted to be here today to inaugurate the headquarters of the Defense Intelligence Agency, a key agency in our security architecture that primarily provides intelligence to our armed forces and the Ministry of Defense. Our country is bedeviled by a myriad of security challenges across the 6 geopolitical zones of the entire nation. Since we became an independent nation about 64 years ago, except for the period of the Civil War, spanning 1967 all the way to 1970, at no time have we been faced by multiple threats than in recent times. This is why security tops the 8-point agenda of our administration. In our bid to combat physical threats, we deployed the armed forces in almost all the 36 states to assist the civil authorities.
All right, welcome back. Yes, indeed, we'll be talking security here today on the program. We've got Mr. Butu Yaro. He's a retired AIG of police. He's also a fellow of National Defense College. He spent 35 years in service, retired March 2023. And good morning, sir.
Thank you. Good morning.
So for those who may not know you, some of them may have read about a politician that was arrested with $500,000 in Port Harcourt. You were involved in that particular matter.
Yes, I was.
So maybe we should even start from there. What did actually happen?
Thank you very much for having me. What happened then was that a day before the presidential election, that was on March or February 23rd or 4th, I cannot remember the date. We had intelligence report that certain political elements were determined to compromise the presidential election in Rivers State. And these elements were well organized, were well connected, and actually determined to compromise everybody, including the security. Of course, starting from the police and the local operatives. And we were determined to ensure that there was a transparent electoral process, undiluted by any persons of any concern. And we're told that this particular character was even a serving member of the National Assembly. That was why I became personally interested, because I was the AIG presidential election, the last presidential election in Rivers State. So I put all the machineries of authority available to me to ensure that the plan was frustrated. And working on this machinery, the fellow and his conspirators ran into our dragnet, somewhere on a bar road, very near to INEC office, around 1 a.m. that night. And behold, in the boot of his car, wads of American notes were embedded in large quantity, larger than what I've ever seen in my entire life. My operational base at that time was Presidential Hotel. And you know, from Presidential Hotel to a bar road near INEC office, it's just about less than a kilometer. So the man was intercepted with good, and in the normal Nigerian way of bisking in his authority of influence, he wasn't feeling remorse anyway. He was still asserting authority, particularly as a member of National Assembly, and I got into it. We were arrested with about $510,000 US, cash, wow, with a list of persons and entities he intended to compromise. And from there, we took him on. Took him on to our state CID in Port Harcourt, and part of the election security, we rolled him in. And we were able to immediately get a court remand for him. And we took him to Port Harcourt prison. And the money was taken in as exhibit. And that was it. And after the election, we left the case for the authorities on the ground to continue. But the important thing is that we were able to prevent him from polluting the election atmosphere.
So, but given the controversy that now trailed the elections in Rivers State and how, you know, there were still talks of how that was not the result, etc. Because till as we speak, one of the places where, just a moment, sir, the places where, one of the places where election results are still contested today, you know, vis-a-vis what was pasted and what was on the beavers, etc., is Rivers State. So as somebody who was in that stage, are you a little disappointed that in spite of your efforts, you know, the elections in Rivers were not as clear-cut as they ought to have been?
It was as clear-cut as we expected. And the Supreme Court says so at the end of the day. At the end of the day, issues arising from the petition went as far as the Supreme Court. And that was when the election of the president was confirmed and affirmed. So, any other insinuations, regardless, the election was very clear. And people who raised doubts, they went to court. And at the end of the day, we ended at the Supreme Court. And it was affirmed.
Yeah, Supreme Court is one thing, but, you know, on the ground,
we work with legal instruments. We are law enforcement officers.
Indeed.
And good, and work with, it's not hearsay. He who alleges, if you are cert, you have to prove it. Certainly, you can imagine when we seize this kind of money from somebody, that group will certainly go to high heavens to say anything that is possible in order to discredit the process. But actually, we filtered that election. And that arrest and confiscation of that money at that time was the linchpin for the peaceful election in Rivers State. Do you know the impact of 500,000 in an electoral district polluting the system in terms of activating violence, in terms of compromising election officials, in terms of compromising security officials? The election we had, presidential election in Rivers State, was one of the best in the history of this federation. And I can attest to it. And I was a principal actor. And we did it well in the interest of fatherland, in the process of deepening democracy, and the interest of ensuring that due process follow.
Okay.
The facts are very clear, and they are sacrosanct. So certainly people who took to prison for doing what was wrong, they will say anything they wish to say. But we know, before God, before the Constitution, before the law, we did what was correct.
Even though when the results were published, there was a lot of arguments.
That is in Nigeria. There's no election that has taken place in this country
because
from 1960 to now that this kind of counter-argument and irritating remarks and dissenting opinion has never characterized it. Take it back.
Yeah, but AIG, I imagine that you saw what happened, because one of the places where we had live cameras was in Rivers State.
It was live camera. I was there in live. Not that I was on the office. I was on the ground. Those cameras, if you go to the camera, you will see me physically. We did the best thing that the law permitted. And the result we had was the best. But because we punctured mercenaries, influencers, mercantile election interest group, and opposing political interests, and people who even control the media. I know there are some section of the media that were designed to operate with that camp, with that cabal that carried that money. I don't want to call the name of the party, but you know. So they orchestrated many disinformation in many ways more than you can imagine. But certainly, you know, as national security leaders, it is not in our character to speak at the same length or to embark on paparazzi. That was why our side of the story was not well heard. You know, we are technocrats. We are supposed to be seen, not to be heard. But what we did in Rivers State was one of the best Nigeria can offer. Okay,
so now that, are you following up on the matter? I know you say you handed over the matter to INEC.
That's a lot of money.
You know, and also the money as well. So what has happened to the case?
Most of the perpetrators, they have served their terms. They have served their terms. Carry further research. Most of the perpetrators were arrested. About 3 of them were principal actors. The first principal actor...
Including the person that was arrested?
Sure. I don't want to call names on national television, but conduct further research. And I'm at liberty. You are at liberty. Call me back if you conduct further research to continue this discussion at another time. That's when I will talk with specificity. Names, characters, time.
What about the money? Right now, do you follow up in terms of what's happening to the money now?
We took the money as an exhibit and domicile it in the appropriate location where we keep exhibit of that quantum. Which was, because I don't know whether I've made myself very clear.
But is it the CBN or where?
At the appropriate place of domiciliation, we did it.
Which would be where? Is that the police or where?
Place,
Where's the appropriate place? I'm asking for the benefits of Nigerians.
The appropriate place is there.
We're not going to go there to
go and double check.
The appropriate place is the exhibit room. An exhibit room is defined in many concepts. The safe in the state CID can be exhibit room depending on the volume of money. The CBN can be exhibit rooms at certain location in certain circumstances depending on the size of money. As a matter of fact, all those follow-up were treated by the legal department of the force. I'm in the operational department.
It wasn't under your purview.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Well, hope they will not snake, will not swallow it.
That's the only hope we can have now. But let us move on, because 510,000 can be tempting to snake.
It's a lot. He must have done his part.
Yeah.
But for those other people who counted it,
very tempting to snake.
So that picture.
Too.
Well, you had the stint in Oka.
Sure, I was AIG in Oka too, in Anambra State.
So this unfortunate scenario, just trying to understand the mindset. I mean, all of this matter about IPOB, today, all over the dailies, you see the reports of, unfortunately, some soldiers were killed in some unfortunate incidents. Could you tell us what you think is really going on? Are there criminal elements? Who are these people doing these things?
Thank you very much. From my service experience and deployment engagement on the ground, mind you, apart from serving as AIG in Oka, earlier than before that, I was Commissioner of Police in Imo. The kind of situation you are having there, especially it was even analyzed by the last person on the stanza before I came in, is pure criminality at the highest level. Criminality at the highest level. In fact, from my service experience, what they are doing there, they are a band of criminals from all persuasion who have taken cover in that exercise in order to accentuate their criminal intention. That is why you discover that from the operation, it's all about seizing people's property, seizing people's car. They kidnap people, they take ransom of gargantuan sum. Wow. If you go to their camp, you see assorted vehicles and unimaginable dispossession of people under amorphous concept of agitation. And it's so serious that the local populace have been subdued. So they have now acquiesced to the condition.
No, these are criminals.
They know they have acquiesced. That is to say, the situation have overwhelmed them to remain passive to the circumstance. It's as bad as that, to the extent that some persons will even come home to their villages or their town there. These so-called agitators will meet them and tell them, look, you have to bring 10, 20 million naira as your contribution to the agitation. You have been staying in Kano, you have been staying in Abuja or Lagos, all this way. You came, we are aware. We are fighting for you. We bring 10. And if you don't bring it, bear down is your fate.
So what about security? What is security?
That is what we are saying. Let me tell you. For the purposes of civic education and for the purposes of enhancing national security, in any geopolitical environment whereby the totality of the population have acquiesced to certain criminal characteristics, it becomes extremely difficult for the state actors to actually bring it under effective control. Because there's a kind of, everybody become complicit. They have some of them who are practically on the so-called front line, those of them staying in the camps with arms, doing all the daredevil acts. They have some of them who are in the markets, contributing money, providing succor and support. They have some of them who are in the townships and the villages, having their mundane occupations, but yet they provide active support. So you discover that it has become a kind of a collegiate criminality, a kind of criminality in totality, that there's a kind of a division of labor in this criminal enterprise. And under that circumstance, not that it will be impossible, it will be very, very difficult for national security apparatus to actually overwhelm it very, very quickly, because it has degenerated to a level that looks like a kind of ideology, a kind of a belief system. They say close the market. Even if you tell them don't close the market, they will not even listen to you. We are the state actors. Instead of listening to us, they listen to them. I'm talking from practical experience. In the course of doing what is right, when I was AIG, I've called the leadership of Onitsha Market many times. Please let us ignore these people. They will tell us, that we hear you, sir.
They will not listen.
But on Monday, they will not come from their homes to open the market. Under that circumstance, you as a national security authority, what do you do? Like today, if you refuse to come to the studio, will you come to your house and say, Chamberlain, please, come and enter to go and open the studio? It's part of the problem. So for that thing to be solved, we need much more engagement with the people, with the actors, with their frontline men, with their advisors, with their community leaders, with everybody. That is a kind of a whole society approach is required to dilute the situation on the ground.
What about, who are they?
Because the thing is that the way they are doing it, you saw the clips of how they attack our armed forces in Aba. These are people, they are using asymmetric tactics. Asymmetric in the sense that the people who are going to attack you, you don't even know their position, you don't know their number, they can come from anywhere suddenly. No matter how well trained you are, no matter how well equipped you are, you can be taken off balance. If it is a normal warfare, whereby you know the direction and the location of your adversaries, you have hints about their equipment, their training, their capacity, their number. It's a different thing. That is conventional.
What about intelligence?
That's what we are saying. The intelligence has proved that this is an asymmetric warfare, asymmetric criminality. They are all over, and I've explained to you. That is to say, they have elements in the bush, they have elements in the market, they have elements in the town, they even have elements in the church.
Wow.
Elements in the church. That even you as a preacher in the church, you make disparaging comments about what is going on. Before you finish preaching, somebody will phone you to call to order. So it's an asymmetric situation.
So is it difficult to identify who are their leaders?
We know, you see, some of their leaders, they are already in detention, you are aware. I don't want to call their names. Some of their leaders are already in detention.
Yeah, but if you...
Some of their leaders too have been taken out of circulation. But it's a very profitable criminality of gargantuan nature. That even if their leaders say, look, go like this, considering the benefit, considering the empowerment it has provided, considering the elevated mood or human existence has given them, no, but they are not ready to listen. But certainly, Nigeria will overwhelm them. No matter how long you put the Federal Republic to task, it will overwhelm you. Government is government. The end of the journey may not be predicted, but it's certain.
Are the governors doing enough?
Certainly, they are doing enough within the limit of what they can do. You know, when you say somebody is doing enough, it's a relative concept. Defining what is enough is nebulous. What is enough to me may not be enough to you. It's just like some of you, when you engage some people, they say you try harder. You say what you are doing is enough, but they believe it's not enough. I don't know what I'm communicating. So they are doing enough.
Well, I do know that before you went to the Southeast, and the Southeast problem is really an intractable one. And it's one that, you know, everyone is really concerned about, even those in the Southeast as well. But let me take you to the South-South, because you also served as Commissioner of Police in Edo State. And part of the, only recently, we've been having conversations around the economy, because part of what the president wants to do is to be able to revive the economy. The state governments too want to revive the economy. But we've been told that what is standing between improving the economy, getting people to work, is security. You know, if security is not fixed, it becomes a problem. Only recently we heard the managing director of Okumu Oil, I'm sure it's a facility you know very well, complaining about how they pay so much in taxes but lose their personnel to a lack of you know, firm security around their own establishments. Can you give us, let's say, a picture of what really you think, what needs to be done? Because one of the things that state governments are thinking about is state police. Is it something that you think can solve problems like that?
Thank you very much. What you have said does not require quick fixes in the way it is presented and in the way most people think. Let me take back from the first instance.
State police is a quick fix?
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
You started with the story from Edo.
Yes.
Okomoya. Why the insecurity there is likely to affect economic prosperity. I want to take it from them. That is real. But I can tell you, the problem we have in our own national environment here is incomparable in terms of magnitude to some of our African community. I'm not saying that we are doing better, but I'm equally not saying we are doing worse. For example, African environment, like South Sudan, what is on the ground there is unimaginable. DR Congo, what is on the ground there is unimaginable. Even the main Sudan itself, you are aware for the past 1 year, national life cannot take place there. Then some other countries too, like even the Republic of South Africa, despite their professed technological advancement, they have the highest rate of murder in the whole of our continent. And they have the highest rate of rape in the whole of African continent. But if you are not there in those climate, you always have the presumption or the assumption or the belief that ours is worse. We are not yet there, but we are getting there. Okumu oil in particular and corporate environment in Nigeria, there's one aspect, the missing link in our action since most of the corporate world, in terms of security fixation, security debarment, security platform that can aid even the state actors. We are the state actors that can aid them to respond faster and better. They don't. The private sector in our country, especially in our country, seldom invest in security platform on a firmer scale that will even enable a quicker response or a quicker assistance by we, the state actors. Okumoye, that place you are talking about, I know. That formed part of my jurisdiction before as a commissioner of police in Edo State. That gap exists not only there, with almost corporate establishments. And given the trend of security infiltration or the trend of insecurity in Nigeria, which is similar to elsewhere in Africa and the world generally, we need to do more than we are. If you are in the Western world, before you even approach this your company, before you come, there are many security apparatus that can actually serve as a deterrence to your breaking through here. Most of these areas you are talking about, we go there, no formal security of organized nature, no organized engagement. But I believe it's still work in progress. Our condition is not too bad, but we cannot accept what we have now. We continue to work on it to improve on it. Then the second leg of the question was
state police.
Still very good. Yes. Whatever is necessary for us to move forward is desirable. Whatever is necessary. For example, I did a study recently, and I discovered that Nigeria is like a kind of a hegemon in Africa and in West Africa. A hegemon means a very large, big, dominating entity that attracts anything that is possible, both negative and positive. We even have migrating criminals who look at where we are as the best part of West Africa to come and practice criminality. We are aware of that. Now, if it is the consensus of Nigerians that state police is the way to go, why not? We must listen to ourselves and listen to our people. State police do not mean the suffocation of the constitution for federal police to go away. Federal police will always be there. We know state police is a kind of a supplementary or complementary entity to what the national police is doing. Certainly, it's desirable. But I can tell you, my dear sister, from my practical experience, If we are alive, we don't die. 5 years' time, you call me to come and re-examine this comment.
Which is something I look forward to.
Just 1 second, you can hear me.
The point I'm making is that all of us are clapping hands, we want it. Let us come to the implementation manual. 4 years ago, we embarked on community policing. We told the governors to give us lists of their indigents for us to use them as community police officers to be posted to their local government area. Not that they work in another local government. In most of the states, about 16 states in this country, they abided by what we said. We employed their community police officers. We posted them to their local government. Our arrangement then was that the governor said they will pay them stipend. In some states, they say 10,000, some states 20,000. At that time, me sitting down here, I was the commissioner of police in Zamfara. That time, they kidnapped Jangebe girls. Jangebe. I was there. 9 months after these children were enlisted, at the pleasure of the government of the day, nobody give them that subscription of 10,000. Later, this community police officers
just 1 second, if you can hear me,
by the state government.
Mr. Ayaro, just 1 second. I apologize for butting in. Perhaps the challenge really is in the kind of people that we recruit into the police force. I'm sure you see some videos sometimes of policemen acting in untoward ways. There are those who would say that we probably haven't even learned from, the rubbles of the NSARS movement, which started in 2015 and, crescendoed in 2020. There are those who say that some of these issues are still right there all across the nation. Policemen are still behaving in the way they behave and consequently not being able to retain the trust of the people long term enough for the people to trust them or trust their security into the hands of the police. The quality of the men that have been brought into the system. What's your take on that?
I want to tell you from the insight of practical experience that agitation you described was a kind of agitation by organized Yahoo characters against the security apparatus of the Federal Republic. And with that agitation, they came up or they have developed some kind of false confidence that they can always do what they want. That agitation was not established within the context of honest Nigerians making their feeling known. And arising from that, from the other ashes of that experience, you see a good number of them acting in ways and manner to make as if they are determined to ridicule the police. Let me tell you, for the avoidance of doubt, no nation can attain its national mandate without having a responsive, respected, and motivated police force. We must come back to our national ethos. We look at what is on the ground. We need to improve on it. If it is the issue of improving police services, people who are in police system, they are determined to offer their best to the Federal Republic. And the Federal Republic, which includes the citizenry, must have a reciprocal mindset. There's no country in the world without a standing police, and Nigeria cannot be an exception. Therefore, for whatever measures of infractions you see them on the street, those are infinitesimal. There's no way in the world you don't see police infractions. The biggest democracy in the world, the United States, we watch it on video from 2 or 3 or 4 years back, that a policeman strangled somebody who just entered a shop to buy tobacco, choked him by his patrol car, and the man died. So what I'm saying is that some of those infractions are commonplace. The world is replete with it. But that is not sufficient for us to say we have lost confidence. Let me tell you, if you are not very careful, by what we've seen, by the NSAS activity, most of the police who have lost confidence in most Nigerians. We are all Nigerians. We know ourselves. We have prejudices against ourselves. We are not from Gabon wearing police uniform. Neither are we from Ghana. Or neither are we from Cameroon. We are from here. The prejudice against police is largely borne by people who are criminally minded. And they orchestrate it to this level to highest level. Let me tell you too, a criminally minded people can still be part of a decent professional group. I have had service experience of a criminal gang training one of their persons to become a lawyer. And I will not cite the states or the place. I'm talking from experience. If after this engagement, you ask me for further details, I will give you. We've had in this country some communities who buy arms and put it in the church. So that anytime their village is having issues with another community, go and take it from there. So all those people who orchestrated NSAS against the police, most of them are criminals. At the end of the day, they say NSAS, people were killed. Inquiry was set up. How many names of victims did you see on television?
Well, Mr. Yaro,
we are all Nigerians. You know, yeah. We know our names. We know our locations and addresses.
Mr. Yaro, just 1 second. Do you also remember that one of the issues that, in fact, the 5-point agenda, if I can put it like that, of the NSAS agitators at the time was for better police welfare, a better police system? Are you saying that was masquerading?
It was a semantic of the, that was a carried, that was a semantic of the agitators in order to put the veil on the face or on the conscience of discernible observers. You don't talk about saying you are acting for a better service for the police, you go and burn police station, you kill policemen, you take their arms, some of them wear their uniform, and all those things we see. And I don't know why some of you who are leaders of the press have not taken time to look at the other side, the insidious motives of what happened. Look at one of our best police stations in Nigeria, Orele Police Station, built by the Japanese government. I watched it with dismay, where these boys went and burnt it down. Well, Chinese built it for when they built a railway station. Go see AIG police barracks.
But can you say
one of our best old police barracks there? They invaded it, and they say they are trying to justify or assisting for police welfare.
Well,
it was criminal agitation, and I want we Nigerians to interrogate the motive of that thing.
Well, just one moment on that.
To get it better.
You know that all of this is to make the police better. Whichever way or guise it will look, there are those who are saying, look, young people
these things are for police better when you are burning police station. You are taking their arms, you are slaughtering them, you are ridiculing them.
Mr. Yaro, just 1 second. Let me just put this in because we have to take a break
to discharge their national duty. All those things cannot be done in that way, and you tell us you are doing it to improve police services. That is not how to improve police services.
But then it goes back to police community. Just a second, Mr. Yaro. The police community relationship needs some work. Do you agree? Mr. Yaro, can you hear me?
Please, you are senior. We should not do things as if we are giving a firmament or encouragement to people who want to demolish our nationhood. Let me tell you, my brother, police as an institution is the physical definition or one of the most important definitions of our nationhood. If you take any action to demonize them, to bring them down, to put them in shame, you are destroying your country. And that is why the whole world is laughing at us. How do you kill a policeman in a battle? You have the video clips here. Since that man was killed, nobody from channels have even reviewed it again. And then terrorists after his wife gave birth. And you are telling me that they were doing it to make police better. I was the police commissioner in charge of NSAS damage assessment. I went to all those locations. When IGP Adamu was the IG, I went as commissioner of police in federal operations here. All those places they carry out this carnage. I was there. They entered police barrack and killed them. And somebody said that they were doing it to make police better. Where is it done in the world? By attacking police in their barracks and their station. Is there any world example we can give? The world is one community. Right. Let us not try to encourage people who are devil incarnate, who want to use certain brand to bring our country down.
Well, definitely. I mean, there's work to be done by all of us, you know, to ensure that we put our best foot forward and ensure that things are done properly. Because at the end of the day, when we do those things properly, we all benefit. At least not to put away the criminally minded ones out of us as much as possible. Abutu Yaro has been in a very interesting time. He's a retired Assistant Inspector General of Police. He's a fellow, National Defense College. His first degree is in public administration. We thank you for coming on today, and we look forward to having more engagement with you.
Thank you very much.